Okay, so we've got a 50-50 format. So that's got circuits of 3 stations. You work for 50 seconds through each one, 2 times around those. So 50, 50, 50, and then back to the first one, 50, 50, 50. Then you get a 50-second break. Then you move to the next circuit, 3 stations there, working through 50 seconds of each. For equipment that you'll need, we'll have sliders for a few. And you also need some light weights. They can be dumbbells, wine bottles, high life, anything like that that you want for some rear flies. So less than 5 pounds is usually fine. First circuit, we're gonna have dead bugs. So you'll be on your back, just a static position here. You're gonna have a hand releasing push up. So come down to the floor, pushing up, and then squat pulses, which will be in that standing position. So we'll get started about 10 seconds here with the dead bug as your first one. So down on the floor. 10.
All right guys, as Ben mentioned, the 50-50-50 format, starting with a 50-second exercise here, the dead bug, and then moving right into the second exercise, and then immediately to the third exercise. 25 seconds out. In this position, try to keep that low back driven down into the floor. The legs and arms are extended away from each other. 10 seconds, and we're gonna go into a hand release push-up. It could be from your knees or from your toes, whichever one's most appropriate. 2. So roll over quickly as soon as you're ready. Hand release push-ups, chest to floor, hands up, hands down. It doesn't have to be a big hand clearance off the floor, just it could even be like a 1/16 of an inch. Just real quick up, real quick down. If it feels good in the wrists, great. If it doesn't, you could do just a normal push-up. And after that hand release, think about almost driving back into the floor. So don't overdo it, but you're definitely pushing pretty quickly. Put yourself in motion. 20 seconds out here. Third exercise is gonna be a squat pulse. Stay kind of in the bottom half of that squat position and just pulse up and down. 10 seconds out. You might be exhaling here on the press. Big inhale on the way down. Exhale on the press. 3, 2, up on your feet for some squat pulses. Weight stays back in the heel. If you have a mirror in the room, take a side view and make sure those hip bones are coming up and down. It's not just the knees transferring forward and back, but the hips are really up, down, maybe 4 to 6 inches range of motion in the hip bones themselves. 20 seconds still, and then we'll go back to our static dead bug. Ten. 5. Good, on your back guys here. Low back down again. And then think about trying to reach out as far as you can, but maintaining as much control as you need. Pull the belly button back, press the back down. Maybe squeeze your glutes a bit, work on your breathing here. 30 seconds out. $15. You could always go from a bent knee position here if you needed to. You could also put the legs down on the floor, the heels that is, if it was bugging your hip flexors. 2. Rolling over to a hand release push-up. And again, if this is too much on the wrists, don't worry about the hand release. Just do some nice deep push-ups. Inhale down, press and exhale. 30 seconds out. 15 seconds. Try to move as a unit. Hips come up as the shoulders come up. 5. We'll finish this series here in a minute with squat pulses. So squat pulses first, 50 seconds out, and then we'll take a nice long rest period. Nice pulses, Ben. 30 seconds, guys. Try to stay through that pulsing motion. Another 15 seconds and then a 50-second rest. 10. 5. 3 exercises coming up. I'm going to start with a forward and reverse lunge on one leg. We're then going to go into a lateral crawl and then side plank hip drop. The forward reverse lunge, I'm going to do my best not to touch my foot in the middle of that rep, so back and down, yes, and over the top. A little bit of tempo. Lateral crawl, we'll move sideways, opposite arm, opposite leg, and then the side plank hip drop will go forearm, drop the hips, press the hips. 5 seconds out. First thing is that forward and reverse lunge.
So one foot stays in place, one's moving back and forth. So when you're stepping back, it's that front leg that's doing the most work. When you're stepping forward, it's the front leg there doing the most work. And just find a rhythm and good balance in the middle as you transition. So hopefully not falling over with every rep. You saw Kyle mix his pink lemonade vodka workout cocktail over there. That's how we power ourselves through these. Everybody's got their own strategies, that's ours. 8 seconds to go. And then you're gonna be moving into that lateral crawl next. So you'll be down on your hands and your toes. 2, 1. So it's pretty much a quad plank position, and then you're moving opposite hand and foot together. So try to get the coordination down. Not a lot of movement in the torso or the shoulders or the head. It's just the feet and the arms that are moving. Smooth reps. Don't need to go fast on these at all. The more time you spend up off the floor with that hand and opposite foot, the more challenging you're gonna make these. So sometimes really slow motion can be even harder. 20 to go. And after this one, we'll be down on the floor, still into a side plank position with a drop. 7 seconds left, a couple more steps. So get the elbow planted right under the shoulder. Feet can be stacked, or if you feel better with them kind of alternated there, one in front of the other, you can do that. And then the hip drop, trying to get those hips low to the floor, and then pushing them up towards the ceiling as high as you can, getting a little side crunch in that top position. Hand can be on the hip, or you could reach it up towards the ceiling if you want to, or if you need a little assistance, you can put that hand down on the floor. And then you can always go from your knee, the bottom knee on this one, with that knee at 90 degrees. 15 seconds to go. After this, we'll be back up to those forward reverse lunges with the other leg swinging. 5. Right up to the feet again. And on these, you want to control that lowering, partly so you don't smash your knee into the floor, but partly because you get a little bit of that eccentric work on whichever leg that's doing the lunge movement. Slowing yourself down with control. 20 seconds to go. And then after this one, you'll be back down to the floor for that lateral crawl. 5. And this one's a full body movement. You're getting the upper body working with the shoulders stabilizing. You've got the quads engaged the whole time too. And then the core throughout is working in a few different directions. You've kind of got that up and down movement, the core's working, but then side to side too to control and to stabilize everything. Make sure you're breathing throughout this one. 18 seconds to go. And then you'll be on your last one into that side plank. 10. And then down to that elbow. Again, stabilize well. If side planks bother your neck or your shoulder at all, you need to play around with that elbow position. And again, you can always go from your knee too to take some of that weight off. And just consistent breathing here, maybe an exhale on every lift. That'll keep you in a good tempo too, so you're not going too fast or slow. Really work on that hip lift at the top. Got 16 seconds to go, then we're going to take a 50-second break. 6. Good. Catch your breath here. Get some water in between. So next circuit, first one's an in-out squat jump. So you just need a little space on the floor for that. Second one is a hand walk and push up. So you're walking forward, push up, walk back up. And then last one's a suitcase crunch. We're going to be going side to side here. So no equipment necessary for this one, just a little bit of room. We'll go about 10.
Five seconds out, in, out, squat, jump to begin this one. A nice, quick, narrow tap on your toes. Pop out into a squat base. Let those knees float out slightly. And then try to absorb as much of that impact as you can. So it's not a stiff landing when you go into the squat. It should be a seamless transition from kind of that jump position into a nice deep squat. You could integrate the arms and or keep them across your chest as Ben has it now. 20 seconds out. We've discussed it before. As you land into that squat, you're likely on your toes, but then sink into the heels, sit back into it. 10 seconds. Next thing is the hand walk to push up. 3. A normal hand walk would go way out overhead. This one we're just going to go into a push-up position. So hand walk out to a push-up, and then we usually say 1 to 5 push-ups there. It depends on how strong your push-ups are. Walk back in, take that hamstring stretch. And if these push-ups are going to beat you up, hand walk out like Ben is, then you could drop to knees there for a kneeling push-up. I'd still keep it 1 to 5. 20 seconds. If you feel tight, you might take an extra second in that stretch position. Drive the hips up, keep the legs long, take the hamstring stretch. 10 seconds out, probably time for one more. And then we're gonna go into a suitcase crunch, which will be on your back. In a bit of a heavy crunch position, low back is pressed down, rotate side to side. If this immediately doesn't feel good in your neck, perhaps your neck is fatigued, a bit weak, you've got some weird cervical stuff going on, you get hands behind your head like Ben is now, but still really working on that rib cage rotation, pulling the rib down toward the hip bone. So it should be pretty aggressive in the front of the abs, but also the obliques there. 20 seconds out. And be sure that low back is pressed down into the ground as we're doing this. 15 seconds. We'll go back to the in-out squat jumps next. 5. A nice quick narrow tap and then bounce out into the squat. If it felt good, you could speed it up a little bit. You can do a little bigger jump. Over 50 seconds duration, should have some challenge to it. Hold a kid would work well, or a dog. 20 seconds out. Then after this one, we'll go back into that hand walk to push up. 5 seconds. 3, 2, hand walk out. 1 to 5 push-ups when you get there. And back in for that hamstring stretch. And remember, the knees are an option if you need to drop down. If those push-ups are starting to beat you up, drop the knees and go through the push-up motion. 15 seconds here. 10. 3, suitcase crunch. Nice big crunch position, roll side to side. And again, holding or brace the neck works well. Just don't yank on it too much. It should come through the core, and the hands are just for stability or support. 30 seconds out of our rest. Ten. Nice job. 3, 2. 50 seconds off. Next 3 exercises, we're going to start with skaters. It's not a mini skater, it's a normal skater, so bound side to side. Think about what you have around you, make sure you have enough space. If you don't have enough space, and do mini skaters. I'm not going to take the arm reach across the body because we're doing a normal skater. The second exercise is a slow on the way up push-up. So I'll drop down normal speed and then take a pretty slow, maybe 8-second duration press. And the third thing is a plank jack or a plank with a lateral foot tap. I'm going to try to do plank jacks as long as I can. So skaters in 3 seconds.
And so you're sitting down into it as well. You want to absorb that impact nice and softly. Back foot rotates behind you. Do the best you can to not push off that back foot or not to use it for stability. But if you need to, it is there. Arms can swing across your body on each rep too. Gives you a little bit of momentum and coordination. Soft landing here. Shouldn't be making much noise. Be aware of your surface if you're on a hard surface versus a carpet and what you're wearing on your feet as well. 12 seconds to go. Next one is going to be that push-up with the slow up portion. 3, 2, 1. So down in the push-up position, toes or knees. Get that body into a good plank position. Slowly push up. You will likely need more than 1 breath per up portion here, so you might be getting a couple breaths. Depending on your speed, you can drop a bit faster. Slow push up.
And again, don't worry about going slow on the way down. These aren't eccentric ones. We're not trying to focus on the eccentric part. So you're going down quickly, but as long as you're not hitting your face. 12 seconds to go. Controlling that upward push. Next one is going to be in a plank position. So you'll stay down on the floor in that similar position. 2, 1. And then you're going to be doing little hops in and out. These can be pretty aggressive if you're feeling good with them. Keep the hips up. If you need to slow it down, you can go more to a lateral toe tap. So you're holding a plank, reach out to the side, tap. Usually it's helpful to keep the hips a little higher than your normal plank position to give you a little leeway, because as you get fatigued, the hips do tend to drop down. So be aware of how your low back's feeling. Switch to the toe taps, or you can even go down to a regular plank or plank from your knees if you need to. 15 to go. Last 10, then you're going to be up to those skaters again. 4. These ones get tough. So side to side, again, if they feel easy, it'll sink lower. Make it more of like a curtsy lunge, single leg squat as you're going side to side. And as with all of our jumping stuff, controlling the knees. I mean, the knees are going to move around a little bit, but you're not trying to let those cave inward as you land, which that comes from the glutes, from your hips to control that. So when you're strong with the landing, you're not going to be wobbling all over the place with your knee. 18 to go. You can get a breath every 1 or 2 hops here. Last 10, then going back to that push-up position. So good breath or 2 here. And then you're maintaining that plank as you're pushing yourself away, whether it's from your knees or your toes. And if you're feeling your low back at all on these or those plank jacks, really brace those abs up tight on the front side, and that'll help take some pressure off the back side. 20 to go. Breathing along the way, really good control, driving those palms into the floor. Last 10, then it's in the plank position for your last round on the circuit. So to the elbows, last one, and again, fatigue starts to become an issue on this one. Don't hesitate to go to the toe tap or go down your knees or just hold a static plank. Just be aware of how your low back, how your hips and core and everything's feeling on this one. 30 seconds to go, then we'll take our break. $16 seconds left. Almost there, last 10, good burnout. 4, 3, 2, 1. Got it, good. So a curtsy lunge as your first one. So you're reaching that knee back and around. We're gonna have a wide mountain climber. So if you want sliders for this one, you can grab sliders. We're coming to the outside here. And then last one is going to be a plank with opposite reaches here. So sliders if you want, otherwise you don't need any other stuff. We'll go in 7 seconds.
Ben's got a good demo of the curtsy lunge. We're taking the knee that is driving up behind the opposite heel. So there's a little bit of a twisting sensation in the stationary legs glute. Be as light as you can on that foot, so that foot's gonna come back, reach behind you, yes. When you're down in that low lunge base position, try not to push too hard off that back foot. Try to use that front leg to lower you, and that front leg to also lift you back up. 15 seconds. And as Ben mentioned, we'll go wide mountain climber next. It could be with or without discs. 2 mountain climbers here. And try to load the oblique when you come out to the side. So nice little pinch on each side. I don't know what I was trying to say. Individual and each together. 30 seconds. And you'll meet the feet together in the back. Maybe pause for a second, reestablish, and pull one knee, pause for a second, one knee, pause for a second. And like those plank jacks, 15 seconds out. Make sure the hips are up high enough to kind of give you some protection, but also some core work. 10, 5, then we'll plank here with opposite arm and opposite leg. If it's too much on the hip and or shoulder, just do one arm or one leg. You could just do a simple leg lift or a simple arm reach. If both of those are still a little aggressive, just hold a static plank position. "20 seconds. We're doing good. After this, we'll go back to the curtsy lunge. Another 10 seconds here. And then when we're up on our feet, make sure we switch sides to the curtsy lunge. 2. And from that knee tuck or knee drive position, take the back leg back and down. Watch out for those discs if they're around you. And then be as light as you can on that back toe. So a lot of weight in the front leg. Use that glute hamstring as a brake, and then also kind of to draw yourself back up. You're gonna feel some quad, yes, but try to be as aggressive as you can on the backside. 25 seconds. Whatever breathing pattern works best for you here is fine. 15 seconds out, and then wide mountain climbers. Five. 4. Pull that knee out wide, get some oblique there, some oblique there. Take your time, work on that crunching motion. Pull the hips and rib cage tight. 25. After this next 15 seconds, we'll drop into the plank with opposite reach. That'll be the last exercise of this series. 5. 4. Opposite arm, opposite leg, yes, good. And then if and when it's appropriate, remember we can go just the arm, just the leg, or just a standard plank. Trying to do your best to keep those hips squared up. Anticipate the load, prep for it, reach. 30 seconds out. Breathe as you need to here. 20 seconds. 10. 2. Nice job, guys. Good series, Ben.
Bow, bow, bow.
Three exercises coming up: a bow slide or a slider clock press, We do this here in bunch in class with the discs. One arm will go push up, one arm will go chest fly, maybe 45 off the body, stay tight in the core, press back through, come back in, same thing. If you can't get back up, lower yourself slowly from this position, relax, crash down, slide it in to a kneeling push up. Second thing, split squat jumps, it's not that bad, and then cross crunch. But we'll go slider, clock press first.
Man, I really didn't know that.
I'm gonna alternate.
Yeah, I didn't like that last one.
You didn't like the last
No,
round?
I didn't like that very much. So knees, usually a good idea on this one. Some of you might be able to get a few from your toes, but try to get a good range of motion if you are going from your toes. Get low. We'd rather see you go to the knees and get deep than to go from your toes and just do little half reps. You got to keep that weight shifted, and with the hand on each slider, it's really important that the stationary hand is nice and centered, kind of under your chest and shoulder there. If you get it in a weird position, that hand might move a little bit, which is not going to be good. So 12 seconds left. And then next one's going to be those split squat jumps. I was glad when Kyle takes those. 2, 1, up to your feet.
Take those. Fast feet.
I take fast feet. He takes split squat jumps. We're all happy. So he's doing a great job of getting low pretty much to the floor on everyone. That's going to get pretty tough, but that's the way to make it more challenging is get low and then get a nice jump in the middle too. So try to get up off the floor a little bit. If you can't do much jumping, you can just do really quick reverse lunges too with a good speed, and that won't require really getting off the floor at all. 15 seconds to go. Arms are involved too. They can give you some rhythm to it. Make sure your breathing legs should be burning a ton by now. 7 seconds to go. And then that cross crunch will be the next one. So down on the floor. One leg across the other. Reaching that elbow up towards the opposite knee. And trying to open up at the bottom just a little bit. So you let that shoulder and that arm come down towards the floor, ribs come up a little bit. And then as you pull across, you pull those ribs down towards the floor. Use your abs and your obliques to create that movement. Your opposite hand, so the one that's off to the side, is just out in the open space. You're not trying to push off the floor with that arm. 15 to go. You can elevate the foot off the floor if you want to on those. Either option is going to be a good challenge. And then after this one, we're going to be back to that clock press. So you'll stay down on the floor, get those sliders, and switching up. So this one, definitely a lot of the push-up muscles, so your chest and your shoulders work in. But you get a little extra shoulder too with that reaching arm. And then some extra core too, because it's pretty much an off-balance push-up as well. Keeping some weight in both hands, but definitely more in the stationary hand. And the angle that you reach can vary. It doesn't have to be perfect, but roughly in the 45-degree range. So not straight vertical, not straight lateral, somewhere in the middle. Whatever feels okay on the shoulder. 12 seconds to go. And then after this will be the split squat jump. So you'll be up on your feet, and you're going to need to push those sliders out of the way. 2, 1. So low at the bottom, high at the top, soft landing. It's another one of those lunging movements where the eccentric part controlling your lowering part is going to make it more of a challenge. So you're not bouncing your knee off the ground. 25 to go. If you can go straight through on these the whole time with the jump and that deep landing, you're a champ. So see what you can do. 5 seconds. It's all because of Kyle's little magic juice over there. All right, cross crunch down on the floor, down on your back, other leg across the knee, and I come in the opposite direction. So you can see from this angle how that off arm is just lifted up there. Not trying to roll off that right shoulder if you're crossing your left elbow across. that off shoulder you don't want to be putting all the weight into, so you're not just turning your body on the floor, you're actually lifting up with your core. 25 to go, then we'll get a 50-second break, and then we'll be on the last working circuit. 12 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and good. Do you need your music or no?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yep.
It was a secret cocktail, now they know what it is. My go juice.
It's also good parenting, juice, having the vodka. All right, single leg V-ups, rear fly, squat, jump, pull. So single leg V-ups down on the floor. Here, rear fly, you'll need those weights or cans or anything like that. We're coming here. And then the squat, pulse, jump, pulse is the third one. So single leg V-ups down on the floor to start out.
If you guys wanted to hold something in hands, you're welcome to. Maybe 5-10 pounds. It could be a full sit-up position like Ben's demoing, or more of that crunch position where you just kind of round the back coming up. So if you have any low back issues or perhaps hip flexor stuff, regress as much as necessary. And then yeah, we're moving the arms a bit, but we're not using them so drastically for momentum or to assist in this motion. So use the core to draw yourself up. 20 seconds here. We're gonna move from this into the rear fly. We're gonna go just more of a rear fly, not a single leg position today. So really focus on that pinch. Take the instability out of it so you can really be delicate and precise. 3, something pretty light. The strongest of you might move up towards 8 pounds. Most people probably 2.5 to 5. And in this motion, it's a very deliberate pinch. And then don't initiate with too much speed. So you should carry somewhat of the same speed throughout the entire movement. So that first movement, separating the hands, be slow, and then keep the consistent pace through that. Nice big squeeze. Ben's putting down a 1 or 2 second pause in that T position and slowly unwind. 20 seconds. And then we'll finish this series of 3 with squat jump pulses. 10. 3, 2, 1 squat jump, 1 pulse, 1 squat jump, 1 pulse. During this closure, Ben has taken up running. So I am trying to make sure his legs are strong, giving him lots of leg stuff to do today. "25 seconds. After this, we'll go back to the first of the 3, which was the single leg V-up. If you were not alternating legs during the first set, let's alternate now. Again, weight could be used. 10 seconds. 2, single leg V-up. Not too much arms here, but they are connected to the body. This was more aggressive than you wanted. You could do bent knees, you could just do a static dead bug, come up less. 20 seconds out. 10. 2. From single leg V-ups into the rear fly, something light. That felt lighter than you wanted last time, and it's your only option. Slow it down a lot. Be half that speed, nice pinch. Make sure that pinch isn't too high up in the back of the neck. It's not a trap pinch, it's more mid T-spine or right between the shoulder blades. Shoot as low as you can with that pinch. 25 seconds. And we'll have our last working exercise after this, the squat, jump, pulse, and then we'll go into 3 different stretches. 15. 5. And see how quickly you can get in that squat, jump, pulse. I thought Ben was just gonna keep the bells in hand.
When I'm doing that.
Yeah. And nice soft landing. As you land, toes will likely strike first and settle into the heels, a little pop. Arm integration is good. If you're feeling really solid with 30 seconds to go, have your hands across your chest or on your head, but don't use the arms for the squat jump. 20 seconds out. 10. 2. Let's take about 20 seconds to rest, guys. You're going to be in a sideline 90-90 stretch first. Was that bad?
Well, I just don't like to finish with those.
You want to start with it next time?
Yeah, and in the middle too.
Alright guys, 10 seconds out. Ben has your demo here. The knee's going to come high off the front of the body. From that position, don't move the hips a bunch, but open up the rib cage, open up the chest. We did a few different push-up variations and that clock press today, so chest might be a little tight, so really let that arm dangle back there. And it doesn't have to be a fast movement. Take your time. You might even feel a little bit of oblique stretch in this. We're going to go 50 seconds on one side, take 10 seconds to transition to the other side. And as mentioned, we have 3 different stretches. Ten. 2nd one. Second thing I wrote down was wrist to forearm stretch.
All right. I didn't even look at that.
That's why I was trying to get your attention.
Yeah, thank you. What do you guys tell me?
The same thing here, that knee is nice and high, about hip height. Take your time, try to keep that knee pinned down, open up with the rib cage. Float back, 20 seconds. This is a good one to do throughout the day if you feel pretty tight sitting at the computer. Or if you're stressed aside from kids and you just need to lay down for a second. 5. Our next one's going to be a wrist / forearm stretch. Sometimes we do it before like front squats or a few movements. I like to integrate it at least. Depending on how tight your wrists are, you could move the hands tight to knees like Ben has them, or move the hands further away. Be gentle here, but tip the hips back, so sit towards your heels, get a little bit of contact or a little bit of not contact with tension, and ease back out. Don't overdo this. If you couldn't even put your palms down, just go from fingertips, lean back a little bit, just get a nice stretch. This could also be done standing against the wall, but this is an easy way to get into it. And for most of us, this is probably an appropriate level of stretch. Let's just do this one time. If you want to double up on it your own, you can. Next thing is going to be a butterfly stretch. Feet together, sitting down, knees out. 3. On your bum, feet together. 2. you go from a tall posture, kind of pulling those feet in, or relax a little more and let those knees kind of drift out, a relaxed position. Either way, should be some adductor or groin stretch there. Split squat jumps are getting easier.
They are.
Oh yeah. Usually I only demo, you guys know, like 2 seconds maybe. Having to do all these stupid exercises is actually making me feel pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, not good during it, just good, you know, the later part of my day.
Maybe we're doing something right, I don't know.
10 seconds. Who knew that if I would have done this for years, I could maybe be strong like you guys. 5. This is our last thing, guys. 2. If you want to double up on the butterfly or double up on the wrist stretch or go back through the other stretch, you're welcome to. Otherwise, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Goodbye.